I have a girl called Night Rider, and she's coming out, the top's coming this year. And I have a bunch called the Secret Six. Satan's Six, I'm sorry. The Secret City. Yeah. Satan's Six is a bunch of guys who are trying to get into hell. The devil won't let them because they're not all bad. So they try to go out and do bad things, which turn out to be good. So they get into hell. They can't make it.
It's the opposite of wanting to try to get into heaven.
Well, no, the heaven they never make. So they never get in there.
They're too bad for heaven, too good for hell.
They're too bad for heaven, too good for hell. And Night Fighter is another type of action.
Will you be at WonderCon this year?
I don't get around too much.
So you
I
don't?
might be in San Diego when they have it there.
You live down in Southern California still?
I'm sorry?
You still live in Southern California?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, 'cause that's where you sent this letter from.
Yeah, I'm a thousand yes.
So you don't know if you make it up here again for WonderCon?
Gee, I don't know. I really can't say. But my wife might try to get me out of the house.
You got a face on that guy.
You really surprised somebody when he came in the door, youngish person, 20s, came in and said, he looks pretty spry and good. How old did you say he was?
104. And like I said, Love Comics I used to.
I remember the Love Comics.
I remember too. I remember they were on the newsstands.
I remember
And,
being
you know,
little.
they didn't have a comic.
I remember being little and reading my much older sister's copies.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, my parents used comics to teach us how to read. They figured it was safer material than some stuff that was coming out then.
Oh, I drew all about nice girls. You know.
Such thing.
I respected girls. You know.
Just like there's no such thing as bad boys, huh?
Right.
Around my block, you had to. You know, you could be a gangster, but you know, if you didn't respect somebody's mother or somebody's sister, you know, they
Dump on you?
beat the heck out of you. And this type of thing was, you know, pure romance, pure love. And the dreams were really dreams.
Sure.
And you can interpret them your own way.
It's amazing looking back at some of this stuff and seeing who was doing the westerns and romance and stuff like you.
It was me.
Yeah, you, Gil Kane, Ernie Colan,
That's right.
several others who are now.
Of course, there's a wider variety now. And this is the way the guys look at the BBR,
The BBR?
the Boys Brotherhood Republic. And we had our own mayor and our own DA. You know.
Now, what was that?
I was the newspaper editor.
Ah,
This was on the Lower East Side of New York.
oh,
And,
near where my parents used to live.
yeah. And this was my best friend. He was the flyer, you know, but he passed away. He's gone. I was a young man once. Yeah. He was the popular actor at that time. Robert Taylor. There's Roosevelt. Yeah, this was a type of editorial I would do. Kind of a takeoff on Popeye. I did all kinds, westerns.
Did you ink all this earlier work, or is this ink by Dick Ayers, or did you ink this?
No, this is inked by, probably by Mike Roy.
Oh, so did you typically ever write in the early Marvel stuff?
Yes, I inked a little bit.
So where are you filming
I
that
didn't
for?
really because I was too busy making up that story.
Yeah.
You know how some of the
collectors are, you know.
So I didn't have time really for anything. Well, you couldn't do the entire thing. You'd kill yourself.
I heard a story that you used to go when the page was all done, you used to outline your figures with a big black marker. Is that true? That you would do that? Or is that just...
I put the shading on the pencil.
Long time ago.
This is my ink right here. That's my ink. And you see it's, you know, it's like the pencil. The lines are there.
I grew up in Canada.
They're powerful in their own way. Just like the pencil.
But my neighbor was at some point.
Use a brush?
I remember we were camping in.
No.
We started reading it. For us, it's just a picture. You didn't have no English. Reading it. But it was really
I put in
interesting kind of story. We
the grays. And
read it.
And you can tell the story though from the pictures.
Yeah.
these are
The
my
only thing is, of course, good essence.
I'm curious
I
about
never knew what happened with all the decks.
maybe if you could turn this page a couple of and I could see a different character. Like a...
yeah, my
There's this one style that you do where you make kind of like a blob and you draw it down and you make a squiggle and another blob at the end. I don't know exactly. Is that your technique? Is that? Because I see it a lot of times. Huh? No, I know you draw the, like as a rendering, you know, as like making a bicep or something.
No, I make one line a little more powerful. Oh, with a little more shading. Yeah, that's what But, you know, we all have our individual styles. I imagine you guys will have a lot more different. But that would make your drawing unique in itself. I would say, well, I only got to do that. And that's what makes us individuals.
Limited part cover. But there's only 100 at the front.
This just happened to be my, you know, my own particular style.
They have it up on the counter.
Dark side was a part of it.
See, that's what I'm speaking of. Like, if you can see it on the character, he's covered with it actually, and I see it a lot on Silver Surfer. I really like
This
that.
was my pencil.
And I was wondering if maybe when that came, you know, how did you develop that? Did it just come to you? Was it something? Because I noticed that the way Jack
Surfer was a real surfer. I was in New York at the time, and I read about these guys in California who were surfing in the water just by standing over the water. And I couldn't believe it. So I felt, you know, there's a way out of Canada.
It takes a lot of time.
So I did my own, except the guy didn't surf on the water. He was surfing the galaxies. And so the Silver Surfer is actually an alien figure.
Became a doctor instead. But he keeps trying.
And this is my ink. These were all done by me. And I would do these young looking, but they would all have a real electronic.
There's a great
look to them.
example right there. Yeah, it's boom, right away, you know.
This would be my technique.
More pronounced probably starting in the second.
Did it become more pronounced when you had to, when your output came, when you had to put more out, would you say?
Yes.
Boom, you had a style that you could...
They were powerful lines.
Oh, it's very powerful.
All this shading was in when I gave it to you. This I happen to link myself.
You ink this?
Do you have any of your comics from like the 40s? Did you ever keep copies of them?
No, I didn't.
Really?
No, they used to burn them.
My friend asked me to pull this out just to show you. I'm sure you haven't
All
seen it.
right, that was a good one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I look at that?
Sure. So,
Oh my God. Hey Russ.
Thank you.
please, yeah, take a look.
All winners? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time with these.
That's
Boy, you got a value.
beautiful.
You pass it on to me.
Careful.
I had a lot of, like I say, It was fun for me. Really.
But you didn't, what about the 50s and 60s?
Yeah, they were fun for me too, because I drew new types of things. Yeah. I drew girls, you know,
Oh, you drew on.
big Barda, you know.
Really good chip.
I always liked big girls, I don't know why.
All right, Kirby.
There he goes again.
Big barter, right?
And my wife, when I met her, I beat up all of her boyfriends. I swear. One guy was a piano player, you know, and I stood behind him, you know, and I was watching him play the piano, and I said, gee, wouldn't it be awful if all your fingers were bent backwards, you know? And this guy says, what? I says, you know, they need you out in Hollywood, California. He said, you're going to do nothing here.
Other people a chance to get some kind of
And this is a Mickey Mouse. The Disney people asked me to draw. They wanted a Kirby Mickey Mouse. So I drew Mickey Mouse punching some guy. Yeah, I drew him like Captain America.
That's why. It seems like really unfair.
Of course, he started fighting for his son.
That's the price of being big.
So
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with
Goldfish
that.
bowl syndrome. You should get it.
And all of these characters,
Now they do.
they're my characters.
Or at least part of it.
I had a great time.
Well, yeah, now they do. Yeah, now they do.
All of them. All of them.
After we start fighting.
That's just some, right?
Yeah.
That's nowhere near.
And
We estimate that he did 2,400 stories.
They should be
20,000 page published pages was 21,000 published pages.
Sky Masters was
So
a real
from
character.
the 40s.
And this is when, you know, the early rock and
Almost
school
21,000 published pages.
with
That's that kind of
Armstrong and
ones
Goldberg,
were
guys
blown off.
Yeah.
They didn't make it. Each page
and this was the one. These were the challenges, which I did those guys with DC.
Corrections are all, you look at it, you can't see anything.
And that was a time when they had the big to-do over radioactivity.
habit that he got from first started to train. Because, I'm not sure if it was.
There was one publisher, I did some business with him.
Who's the guy?
I was a young man, like, you know, your age, and I did cartoons for him. He had this small syndicate. And suddenly, he says, well, he says, I'm holding up the syndicate. They discovered radioactive material in Canada.
Stopped erasing.
See? And he went up to Canada. I never heard from him
Well, it
again.
was, it's sweatshops back then.
He was going to dig up all this radioactive material, sell it to the government. I don't know what happened. He probably threw about 3 heads, you know.
So they really pushed him to
Just do it as fast as
These are
possible.
the
fastest possible, quicker.
Any reason?
How did you like the adaptation that John Byrne did on OMAC?
I'm sorry? John Byrne?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an excellent player.
Did you like what he did on OMAC though?
No, I like what I did. And, you know, he's entitled to have his own way. And I think that's fair. And if his book sells, he's evidently a very good man. And I feel he's entitled to gain that kind of respect for himself, which is the way, you know, the kind of thing I try to do.
Yeah, they actually used that illustration.
And if you guys draw a character, you should be entitled to draw them your way, the way you see them. And that's how it'll come out.
They've been using
We'll have a great time. Or her. So,
Hi, meet again. Yeah, finally. How's it going?
I got in on Friday.
Where
and I
did
looked
you
at
do
the
it?
word and I thought you would do it,
Style,
but I didn't know if you
the
tried.
characters, like all the metal.
I was out for a week in Las Vegas covering show.
oh, you mean the armor, costumes?
Yeah.
I would invent them.
Did that, was that influenced by anything or was it just something
No,
that was popping in
no.
your head?
It was influenced by the space program, what the guys would wear up to space. And, I felt that was close, you know, to what would eventually happen. They'd have to wear clothes like that if they, you know, if they spent that much time in space. But that never happened because they cut the space program very short.
I'll see in this art, I used to just pour over this, you know, examine every line and stare at it for hours. Big sword?
He was a kind of alien baby, you know, gave everybody a hard time.
That was a great idea.
Yeah, he'd shoot rays out of his.
There are so many great ideas behind the drawings. It seemed like what would be just something that you would down to.
No, whenever I drew, I tried to make it interesting so the book would sell. And that was my job. My job was to sell comic books, which I did. And the better the comics sold, the more I made. I was satisfied.
It seemed like your villains always had more than they just wanted to be the biggest guy on the block. They always had a philosophy.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
It was their way of being.
Believe me, it was different. You didn't mean anything to them.
Right.
Did he really retire? I didn't know anything about him. Somebody had told me about it. Did he really retire or he kept on working?
Giant days.
Does look like we're doing that.
You know, what I was creating was like silent movies. That's what I was.
Yeah. Yeah, every time it says, no, I think I'll retire here.
Human Torch was just a teenager,
Yeah,
you know, with his pants on fire.
He became in 2 days.
Yeah. About his age. Glad to know you. What's your name? Diego?
He's really into that.
Oh, he looks like a great
Not as
guy.
good, but it's famous.
Listen, he might make a good artist.
He is good. Believe me, not because it's my son.
Oh, this generation is different.
And you gave me a lot of good pleasure when I was a little boy too. In Spanish I read them. Is
My grandson,
that right?
yeah, a little older.
How'd you like to be 13 again?
I'd love it.
You know, actually,
I'd have a great
He doesn't know how
I
lucky
envy
he is.
him.
Yes, really. See that?
Because, you know, this generation, you know, has it all, really. And they can make what they want.
More easier to
They can make what they want.
You don't even probably have a pencil on.
Listen, I'll make $100 grand a year. No problem.
Hey, there you go. You can support your daddy.
Yeah, why not? You know,
You got a gray hair already.
listen, he probably likes it.
I gotta ask him later on.
I know I like my
He's
dad.
got his trophy here.
Does he, is this, oh, no, I'm not signing
I
it.
know that. It's kind of shows you.
But it's a very good book.
ladies of Boo.
This is a very
That's his
good book.
birthday present.
The paper's good, the book is well put together.
Hopefully you didn't get as much. Oh, very good, very good.
It's got, you know, actually it's like an autobiography because it takes my very early drawings to my very latest. So it kind of turns out to be like an autobiography. Oh, I can't believe all the comics I drew.
There you go.
I spent years in.
That's what he was telling me about.
Listen, he has a lot of wonderful years ahead of him, and you can have a great time. And you will.
Encouragement, this is like
And if you want to draw, you know, nobody's stopping you. Everybody can draw. So there isn't a guy here who can't draw. All you have to do is you have to want to.
put the time.
In my case, I wanted to do it. You know, if anybody said no, you know, I'd punch him in the eyes.
Well, you get an advantage. You were a natural genius.
Sir?
You were a natural genius when you were.
No. I just knew I could draw.
Is that right?
And yeah, and you spend your years developing. And as you develop it, you know, you get better and better.
Get more and more.
Yeah, everybody can draw, really. Except, you know, maybe you don't want to, you know, and you're entitled to that. You want to do something else. But if he wants to draw, he can be very, very good. You can be the best.
You're a master.
And if you can be the best, I think you ought to make a try at it. See how you make out. And in the comic field pays very, very well. So,
He's okay, guy.
you know,
I wouldn't mind 100,000 a year.
and he can do it. It's not out of his reach.
That's good.
Today it's easier than it was in my day.
Yeah, computers.
And
No, you want accuracy.
I used to see them.
You want accuracy.
I go up and there's this publisher, and he's got this whole story.
You'll get a better idea.
It was the Boy Commandos. It was my story.
I mean, Greg goes right down.
And so
If you want to get
he says, I'll be right with you. He says, I'm taking these to the furnace. So they didn't care about the pages. They throw them into the furnace. See, after the story was done. And what I did was, as he walked past me, I pulled out one page, which I still have. And it was from the Boy Commandos.
Where's that furnace you said? It's like
In
a good description. DC, yeah. It's far away from here.
And it's just, you know, that's what they felt about comics then. They would use them, circulate them, profit from them, and burn them. Until, as the years passed, and people began collecting them, then they began to realize the kind of value they had. There are some guys selling pages for
I wish you could
thousands
save
of
mine.
dollars. Save them.
Now I'm doing it, but not
That's a shame.
we need firewood. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you very much. Very pleasant.
Listen, you stay healthy now, and if you want to do comics, you know, do them. You can do them as well as anybody else. And you'll probably do very good with it. And you think up the kind of stories you like, and if there's a story that you like, it'll come out very good. I swear to you. Because, you know, I'm not really I'm just an ordinary guy. But I like to draw. That's all. And as I drew through the years, you know, you get a little experience, and you draw a little better and better. Because they began to buy my drawings. And I would take the money home on Morrow. And I'd take $5 of the money, you know, and I'd take a girl out. So, I mean, that's what we did then. But today, you know, things are different. You know, there's no depression around, anything like that. If you do make money in comics, you make good money. And so you'll be able to get yourself a, you know, and do all the things that you like. Which is, yeah, and he'll live life the way he likes it.
No matter how much advance you had in technology.
I'm sorry?
I said, no matter the advance of the technology, the comics.
Oh, of course. Yeah, they're putting out better and better comics. And they got a lot better paper than I used to. My paper came on rolls. But it didn't matter, you know. If you draw something that sells, it doesn't matter what you draw.
Well, you can keep inspiration, different side.
Silver Surfer? Oh, my pleasure. And listen, take care of yourself and do what you like to do. Okay? Silver Surfer was a real surfer.
Were any of the people you invented like based on people you know?
Yes, yes. It was based on everything I knew. And, like, you know, when I drew Captain America, you know, I felt that I was like Captain America because I wanted to be a good American. Being a good American was very important to me. So I drew Captain America, you know. At that time there was a lot of villains around, so I was able to make, you know, very good stories.
I mean, how about this one, Rocky?
So, because Captain America had a lot of guys to fight,
Then you have the thing.
and he would knock out about 6 guys at a time. But I was only able to knock out 3. But it was a lot of fun. If you do comics, you know, if you like to do comics, you'll have a good time. Because the stories that come out,
It's like Jack got tired of making you big guy.
it'll give you a lot of pleasure.
Variations of the theme, you know.
And you don't have to be a great artist now.
How much, you know, how
You let it
clear
develop, you know. In a year, you'll be better. And the year following that, you'll even be better. And you'll have a good time drawing stories. You got plenty of time ahead of you. So you'll have a great time. See, my grandson is different. He likes computers. So it depends. You have to do whatever you like. If you do what you like, you'll have a good time. Because you won't be able to help yourself. You'll have a great time. And if you like to write, you know, you'll write something good. Maybe you'll be a big reporter, or you'll write a book, you know. And listen, even if you write a good letter, people are going to like it. And that counts.
Do you slide?
I'm sorry?
Do you slide?
No. I'm a miserable guy.
You can leave your stuff with the store clerk over there and take it back with us and then drive us home.
And here's Spider-Man. And
Jack,
see,
You wouldn't have Spider-Man?
yeah, this is Spider-Man.
oh, picture.
This is the thing. They used to associate me with the thing because, you know, no, I used to talk like him. Yeah, the thing always talked like he came from the Lower East Side of New York.
Ben Grimm wasn't your pseudonym, was it?
Well, you know, I didn't realize it myself, but that's how the dialogue came out.
Have you seen any of the roughs from the new Fantastic Four movie? Anything of that yet?
Oh, no, nothing that I've seen.
So it'll be a surprise to you too then, huh?
Well, I made a couple of names.
Well, hopefully you'll be getting some royalties out of that thing.
I doubt it.
Did you get many royalties
I'll
out
have
of
to
the,
fight for it.
out of the Joe Satriani album, Surfing the Alien?
I never knew
Well,
things.
surfers to me were alien. I'd never seen a surfer, you know. And I looked at his newspaper. I was in New York, and there's a guy in California standing in the water on a plank of wood, you know. And he said he's a surfer and all that. And I said, these guys must be crazy. But it's a great thing to do, you know.
What he did about when he was a kid?
And so I drew a surfer, a silver surfer, but he was an alien. And he came from another galaxy.
A few years ago?
So if he was an alien, he was all silver, you know, and he had to be different from you and
They
me.
brought it back.
Because we don't know what's
And
out
that's where
there.
it was originally printed too, right?
You know, there may be guys with 2 noses. So that's why comics are interesting,
I have no idea.
because you can imagine what's out there. What's out there in space? And we don't know. So it could be anything.
I'd buy 2.
And you never know how close, you know, you can come to the real thing. Because when it actually happens,
All right.
it may be the kind of guy that you thought about. So, yeah. So we don't tell any fairy tales. What we're saying is, you know, what we think. At least I do. And, you can have a lot of fun with it.
I've been trying to get a hold of the university.
Your alien doesn't have to look like mine, but he can be very interesting.
Yes,
I didn't know that Santa Cruz had a comics. Well, It was part of their art.
And these are some of the
Will there ever be a Jack Kirby museum?
Sorry?
Will there ever be a Jack Kirby museum?
Well, some of these is cool.
Yeah, that's all temporary. They sell it and they move it out. Yeah.
What?
A museum.
Museum where?
Yes,
There should be one, right?
they're talking about it.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, is it?
They're talking about it.
There should be one.
I have a thing or two of mine at the
Yes, some rest.
Smithsonian.
Right. Yes, I'm just going to be.
That's right. Yeah.